Flock here. Been a lot of talk about the trial. I just want to set the record straight though.
Just hours after being convicted in one of the most high-profile RICO cases in the drill rap scene, Kay Flock finally broke his silence. But before that moment of calm, chaos erupted inside the courtroom. As the judge read off guilty verdict after guilty verdict, tension skyrocketed. Kay Flock showed no remorse and, following the sentencing announcement, angrily stormed out of the courtroom, leaving the judge, his attorney, and spectators stunned. What happened next only raised more questions. So what does this outburst mean for his case, and could it impact how sentencing plays out? Let's break it down. New York rapper Kay Flock's RICO trial had become one of the most closely watched legal battles in drill music history, with fans nationwide following every twist since his arrest in December 2021. In February 2023, he was hit with a sweeping federal RICO indictment alongside multiple co-defendants. The trial officially began on March 10, 2025, and by just the second day, Thursday, March 20th, the jury had already reached a verdict. Kay Flock, whose real name is Kevin Perez, was convicted on multiple serious charges connected to gang activity, shootings, and racketeering. His reaction in court quickly became a major talking point. His attorney, Michael Ashley, also exited the courtroom without making any statements, clearly reflecting the weight of the moment. While Kay Flock was acquitted of one count of murder in aid of racketeering, he still faces a possibility of a mandatory life sentence. The jury found him guilty on several other charges, including racketeering conspiracy, use of a firearm resulting in death, attempted murder, assault with a dangerous weapon in aid of racketeering, and possession of a firearm in connection with those crimes. These charges largely stem from the December 16, 2021 killing of 24-year-old Oscar Hernandez, who was shot outside a Harlem barbershop. Although beating the murder charge was a partial victory, the threat of a life sentence still looms as sentencing approaches on July 16th. After initially appearing devastated by the verdict, Kay Flock later addressed his supporters directly. On March 21st, he shared an audio message on his official Instagram, thanking fans and everyone involved in his case for standing by him throughout the trial.
Flock here. Been a lot of talk about the trial. I just want to set the record straight though. Make my first official statement about it. I want to give thanks to everybody who supported me and kept me in their prayers. I want to thank everyone who was involved in my trial, especially the judge who made sure I was treated with respect throughout the process.
The 21-year-old also took a moment to personally thank his attorney, Michael Ashley, praising him for never giving up and for putting up an aggressive, hard-fought defense. He closed the message by stressing that the battle is far from over, urging his supporters to stay positive and stand by him until the very end, adding that the fight continues.
I want to thank every one of my fans and supporters. I love y'all, everything to the chin, nothing to the heart. And my spirits and faith is high as they ever been, and I pray everyone out there is at peace and feel positive.
The audio message surfaced just moments after the rapper took to his Instagram story, where he expressed excitement about beating the murder charge and left his fans with a few words of wisdom. Flock's statement was later reshared on X by C's, and it read in part, "I beat the top count. I made the judge cry. He said now is not forced to give me life. Alhamdulillah. Everything good, not good, and everything bad, not bad." Much like in his audio message, Flock reminded his supporters to stay hopeful and keep their heads held high until the very end. However, he ended the message on a controversial note by issuing a violent warning toward snitches' remarks that could potentially hurt his chances of receiving a lighter sentence. He wrote, "Chin up, chest out. S ain't over nowhere near. Remain a G and stay sucker-free. Never fold, never will. Free the thoroughbred ones. Kill all rats." The post quickly sparked backlash across X, with many users expressing disappointment and concern over the threatening language. Several commenters pointed out that such statements could sway the judge against granting leniency. One user sarcastically wrote, "Posting kill all rats will surely get him a light sentence." Another added, "Bro beat a murder charge and proceeded to post kill all rats." Black young man taking non-stop LS. Flock's message is undoubtedly creating serious problems for his legal team, who are fighting to secure a reduced sentence instead of a mandatory life term. Still, his decision to speak recklessly reflects the deep anger and sense of betrayal he feels after learning that one of his own friends testified against him in court. That friend, identified as Vance Brockington, provided testimony detailing how Flock allegedly shot a rival gang member in retaliation after Brockington himself was shot. According to an ex-user, Kay Flock shot a guy that shot his friend. That same friend testified against him, saying Kay Flock did it because the guy shot him. The friend he went to war for testified against him. Meanwhile, Inner City Press senior reporter Matthew Russell Lee offered a detailed breakdown of Brockington's courtroom testimony in a series of tweets. During cross-examination, Brockington confirmed that Flock, referred to as KK, called him while he was hospitalized and told him, "You know we got you, bro." Brockington also testified that Flock later led other gang members in a revenge shooting, which resulted in someone being grazed in the face. News of the betrayal enraged many observers, though they still questioned why Flock would jeopardize his chances at a lighter sentence after successfully beating the murder charge. This legal victory followed intense courtroom drama, including testimony from Brockington's sister, who claimed her brother had lied on the stand. Flock's defense team argued that the 2021 killing was an act of self-defense and framed the prosecution as an attack on drill rap culture. Prosecutors had used Flock's lyrics and music videos as evidence, claiming they amounted to confessions of criminal acts and gang activity. They specifically cited his video, "Who Really Bugging," arguing that drill rappers often commit crimes and later referenced them in music to boost their reputation. That Flock's attorneys pushed back, emphasizing that drill music is not necessarily autobiographical and that using lyrics unfairly targets Black and Latino artists while limiting creative freedom. Although the jury ultimately cleared Flock of the murder charge, they unanimously found him guilty on all remaining counts. This verdict brings a long-running saga closer to its conclusion after Flock has spent more than 3 years behind bars. Throughout that time, he frequently updated fans with messages, photos, and jailhouse appearances. In July 2023, he went viral after sharing a jail call photo with Lil Durk's One Mo Chance playing in the background, a post later reshared by DJ Academics. Nearly a year later, Flock resurfaced again after debuting a new look in leaked jail photos that showed a more muscular build and shoulder-length dreadlocks, a stark contrast to his earlier slim frame and ponytail hairstyle. He later released a 5-track EP titled Make America Flock Again, collaborating with artists such as Lil Che, AC Zoe, and others. While incarcerated, Flock also promoted peace, launching a Stop the Violence campaign and publicly calling for unity. However, critics questioned his sincerity, suggesting it was a strategic move to gain sympathy. Now, given his recent "Kill All Rats" comments, many believe Flock may have abandoned hope for leniency and returned to embracing the feared gang leader persona he once held before surrendering himself to law enforcement. Flock surrendered himself to law enforcement in December 2021 after being named the prime suspect in the murder of Oscar Hernandez. Although he had just turned 18, the rapper had already perfected the ability to conceal his true identity for years. He hid behind his music while allegedly committing various crimes as a leader of a deadly street gang known as Sevside Doe. This same pattern appeared later, when Flock publicly pushed a Stop the Violence campaign at a time that seemed convenient, only to later issue a deadly threat toward the individual who testified against him in court once it became clear he would be held accountable for his actions. For years, Flock had allegedly masked his true nature and evaded consequences for multiple crimes prior to the 2021 killing of Hernandez. While he was ultimately acquitted of the murder charge, acting U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Matthew Podolsky, described Flock's conviction on the remaining charges as a landmark victory for the justice system. In a statement following the verdict, Podolsky said, "Kevin Perez, a.k.a. Kay Flock, was a leader of a neighborhood street gang known as Sevside DOA, and with that gang, he committed a series of gang-motivated shootings. Perez, a drill rapper, instilled fear across the community with his violent actions, threatened rivals, bragged about shootings, and taunted victims in his rap lyrics." Podolsky praised the jury's decision, stating it ensured Flock would finally be held accountable, and he commended prosecutors and law enforcement for helping bring an end to what he described as a cycle of violence fueled by Flock and his associates. According to police, Flock and 7 other alleged Sevside and Third Side gang members, Devin Mason, Nicholas Johnson, Avin Beeman, Josie Castro, Mitchell Grant, Isaiah Ruzon, and Sean Smith were responsible for murder and multiple shootings across the Bronx between June 2020 and February 2022. Looking back at Flock's upbringing, many see his current situation as almost inevitable. He was raised in the Bronx, a borough celebrated for its rich cultural legacy and widely recognized as a birthplace of hip-hop. Yet beneath that legacy lies one of the most dangerous environments in New York City, long plagued by street gangs and criminal organizations. The impact of gang activity in the Bronx has contributed to persistently high levels of violent crime. In 2022, the borough recorded a violent crime rate of 8.9 per 1,000 residents, significantly higher than the citywide rate of 5.1. Compounding the issue is widespread poverty. Reports show that Ruffle,
He wanted to actually do clothing designs and stuff like that. Okay. I had him in boxing because that's what we...
His mother also spoke about how she supported his music career from an early age, viewing it as a possible way for him to stay off the streets and build a legitimate future for himself. When the interviewer asked whether she was supportive of Kay Flock's pursuit of music, she responded by saying that she encouraged it because she believed music could give him direction, purpose, and an opportunity to turn his life around.
The whole entire way, I told him, that's what's going to keep you out of trouble. No problem, let's go with it. I'm with it. And he kept on and kept on. And then I see he started to get serious when he was coming to me. Damn yeah, every day, I need $200. I need $300. I need $600.
Flock's mother, affectionately referred to by fans as Mama Flock, revealed that despite not working at the time due to COVID lockdowns, she dipped into her personal savings to support her son's dreams. She gave him money to help cover studio sessions, believing that music could provide him with a real opportunity to escape street life. Flock began uploading videos to YouTube, and before long, his music started gaining traction. Within about a year, his growing buzz caught the attention of Capitol Records, leading to a record deal that had the music industry talking about the limitless potential of what many described as a remarkably gifted young rapper. While fans were becoming captivated by Flock's raw intensity, aggressive delivery, and street realism in his music, a very different reality was unfolding behind the scenes. Long before the fame, Flock was already deeply entangled in gang life. At just 15 years old, he faced a third-degree robbery charge and was sentenced to a year probation. Not long after, he began associating with multiple street gangs. One of the most notorious groups he was linked to is Sex Money Motor, commonly known as SMM gang, that originated in the Soundview section of the Bronx. SMM is far from a small-time operation. Its roots trace back to the early 1990s, and the gang was officially founded on July 3, 1993, by Peter Pistol Pete Rolak. Under Rolak's leadership, SMM aggressively asserted control over Soundview, clashing with rival gangs in violent battle for territory. Over time, the gang became widely known for drug trafficking, armed robberies, and brutal acts of violence, which not only strengthened their grip on the streets but also fueled their expansion. Rolak's criminal activities eventually landed him on Rikers Island, where he formed a strategic alliance with leaders of the United Blood Nation, UBN, a powerful prison gang. This alliance significantly expanded SMM's influence throughout the South Bronx and into Brooklyn. However, as their reach grew, so did their brutality. Following an intense police crackdown, Rolak was ultimately sentenced to life without parole after admitting to killing 6 people in the Stevenson Commons housing complex crimes that cemented SMM's reputation as one of the deadliest gangs in New York City. Despite those connections, SMM was not the only gang Flock was affiliated with. According to law enforcement, he was also the leader of a separate and equally dangerous street gang known as Sevside. Unlike SMM, Sevside had a different structure and originated around East 187th Street in the Bronx, the same area where Flock was born and raised. The gang primarily consisted of teenagers and young adults, which helps explain how Flock was able to rise to a leadership position at such a young age. While Sevside lacked the financial